Good evening, folks. I'm Kenneth Lipp. I'm the co-editor of The Declaration, and I'm here with a quick update on our election coverage with the Spirit newspapers. We have some breaking quasi-intrigue regarding our reporting on the city council primary. This afternoon, a man walked into the Spirit's office in Fishtown with a manilla envelope, handing it to the editor and telling him it was for him. Now, before Max could look up from the envelope, which had the wrong address on it to tell him that he had the wrong place, the man had walked out the door and he was out of sight. Now, the envelope was open, so Max looked inside and discovered it actually was for us. So first, let me bring you up to speed on the last 2 weeks of this campaign. 7th District City Council candidate Manny Morales gave a press conference the week before last in which he accused City Councilwoman Maria Quinones-Sanchez of election fraud, announcing they had brought evidence of the allegation to the District Attorney's Office for investigation. The evidence was 3 signatures on Quinones-Sanchez's ballot petitions, a Carmen Gonzalez, a Carol Brown, and a Felix Aguirre Jr., and the Morales campaign said all 3 of these people were dead. Now, one of them is indeed deceased, Carolyn Brown, but the other 2, when interviewed, promised us they were alive when they signed the petition. Ms. Brown apparently passed the day of the press conference. We're guessing that's too late for Morales to have known about it. And Carmen Gonzalez's signature was actually obtained by Morales' campaign manager as well on Morales' campaign petition, which means it's invalid anyway because even living people cannot sign 2 primary petitions in the state of Pennsylvania. Now, the actual reason for the press conference was for Morales to announce that he was staying in the race and to say he was asking the Democratic Party to rescind his endorsement, as opposed to bowing out gracefully at the strong suggestion of party boss U.S. Rep. Bob Brady, which is more likely the truth. Now, the reason Morales needed a press conference to announce he was totally voluntarily asking the party to take away his endorsement is that he had to, because nobody believes that 4 years of offensive Facebook posts, which Councilwoman Quinones-Sanchez gathered or had gathered and posted to meetmannymorales.com, and do indeed seem to be from Morales' page, were actually there from hacking or photoshopped or made by someone picking up his device sometime in 2012 when he left it unattended at a CPAC keynote. Now, no one believes him because the posts he denies seems like they're written by the same person as all of the posts that were on his Facebook page before he shut down his account, much too late for it to make any difference. And his campaign keeps saying they've deleted emails and are working with an investigator in Camden or something instead of just reporting the unauthorized access to Facebook and to law enforcement and making a big show of that. Now, the reason the Democratic Party ended up endorsing a candidate who was so easily sunk right out of dry dock is that the race for the 7th District is really about a larger and nastier and older squabble between members of local political dynasties, challengers to party monopoly on power, and the general party dysfunction. There's probably no telling how far back civil blood made civil hands unclean, but at least as far back as 1998. Now, that's when Morales' patron, Representative Angel Cruz of the 180th Legislative District, won his seat in the state house. 3 years later, he was tried at a state court for bribing officials to help him win that election, along with 5 other people. Cruz got off with a deadlocked jury, along with a man named Carlos Matos. 4 others were convicted. Now, Matos was convicted a few years later for bribing 3 Atlantic City politicians. He became a ward leader right after he got out of prison, and again after he got off probation, after his probation judge made him step down out of fear he'd influence elections. Matos also made news last year, in 2014, over a lawsuit and a related FBI raid of the Juniata Park Medical Clinic he claims not to have been running with Sandy Acosta, who is the mother of another state legislator and Morales booster, 197th District Representative Leslie Acosta. Matos also supported Quinones-Sanchez in 2 prior wins, but he, 33rd Ward Leader Donna Ahmed, and Representative Cruz, who says he put Quinones-Sanchez in office, all have backed Morales this year and say they still do. They say the incumbent betrayed them and their constituents, but it mostly seems to be because the councilwoman backs her own candidates against party picks. Last year, she ran a slate including staffer Ketsi Lazota against Rep. Cruz and her husband against State Senator Christine Tartaglione, whose sister Renee Tartaglione Matos, wife of Carlos Matos and an operator of the clinic he denies running, and both her daughters are of Margaret Tartaglione, who ran the city commissioner's office from 1975 to 2011. Get a little tongue-tied going through this. So now we have basically this one-party system where that one party hasn't endorsed any candidate at all. The ward leaders still say they support Morales, and this will make a good experiment in which really matters. the backing of the neighborhood political bosses, or the Democratic nod. As for this envelope and its contents, an initial examination of the documents and a quick look into the firm that prepared it tells us that it's intended to be sort of a ready-made hit piece on the councilwoman. Now we're going to vet what's in there and decide if anything is newsworthy, and we'll publish it Wednesday morning in the spirit of so. So check it out. Election update, Wednesday morning, the Spirit Fishtown, the Declaration, phillydeclaration.org. Good night.